folks, going
Yo
up next.
cakes, Gary won. The O's are about to kick Hennig and Luger's sorry asses for the belts, and you and me, we are so fucking knocking boots for Valentine's Day. Be ready to get out of here as soon as the show's wrapped cakes. Don't fucking keep me waiting and shit.
You got it, Ginchy.
What a night it's been. Okay, well, Johnny turns all kinds of colors. Here comes the perfect package. Kurt Hennig and Lex Luger, the pride of the Heenan family's tag team department. And they have an opportunity tonight that they have not had for a long time. The chance to become undisputed World Tag Team Champions. They'll do it at the expense of the originals if they can do what nobody else has been able to do for years and years and years and years and years. John Van and Guy Cormier have been undisputed World Tag Team Champions for well over 5 years, and nobody taking it away from them yet. I don't see them doing it, but you never know.
A snap out of the GB. So, Sylvia Strong certainly seems to be in a great mood tonight. So, what insights you got on John and Guy for this title defense? Right? Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, John and Guy are basically writing this one off as this month's successful title defense, and there's no reason not to believe them. The originals say they've handled for tougher opponents. And that's not an empty brag. Mr. Perfect and Lex Luger are brilliant technically, but that's nothing the O's haven't dealt with in years and years of successful title defenses. Much like Dynamite Jeannie Parker, we all know the axe has to fall one day. It's just a question of when, because for John and Guy, like Jeannie, it's been forever wondering if it will ever happen.
Gee, I wonder if Jeannie Parker and Eddie Guns are going to be knocking boots today.
I'll say it again, Wally. Make him stop making fun of me. You stop making fun of Johnny Tex, like right this instant. You know we love you, GB, and you're a lucky dog too, so don't be embarrassed.
He's absolutely right, Johnny.
The following tag team contest, one fall with a 20-minute time limit, is for the RWL Undisputed World Tag Team Championships. The challengers, at a combined weight of 515 pounds, from Atlanta, Georgia, Lex Luger, and from Robbinsdale, Minnesota, Kurt Hennig, the perfect package. Their opponents accompanied by Sylvia Strong, at a combined weight of 525 pounds, the Chicago Hammer John Van, and the Staten Island Crippler Guy Cormier, the RWL Undisputed World Tag Team Champions, the originals. Those champions tend to get a little anxious turning over the belt during a title match. But check out John and Guy, who seem secure in the knowledge they're getting them back shortly. And they've been doing that for years.
Which, of course, makes it easy to get comfortable. Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, starting it off against the Chicago Hammer John Van. Oh, man. World Tag Team titles on the line. Willie Johnson rings the bell. John Van charges. There's a forearm. Takes Mr. Perfect down to the mat. Perfect locks him up. Whips John Van over the top rope out onto the apron. He counters with a forearm. Gets himself back in the ring. Perfect. With a right and a left, John puts on the brakes. Delivers a shot to the midsection. The Chicago Hammer whips him to the original's corner. Gonna take this one himself. A kick right to the leg of Mr. Perfect. The Perfect one hobbles out of the corner. John Van with a spine buster, a one-armed spine buster, nicely done by the Chicago Hammer. Look at this, takes it the long way around and delivers the elbow right to the leg. Kurt Hennig having his problems in the first minute of this match as John Van really starts to open up. Head first into the far right turnbuckle goes the Perfect one. Up over the shoulder, but Perfect counters it into a DDT. John Van dropped right on the crown of his head. The Chicago Hammer, catches a nasty neck snap from the Perfect one. Boot scrape to both sides of the face as Perfect beats it out of town. And here comes Lex Luger, the total package. Locks it up with John Van. Takes him towards the corner, head first into the turnbuckle. And look at this. from pillar to post, whip to the other turnbuckle. John Van counters with both boots to the face. Locks it up with Lex Luger. Has him up. There's a power bomb from the Chicago Hammer. John Van going in for a quick pin. 1, 2. This center ring and a 2 count. This early on. Well, now. Okay. John Van rounds him up. There's a sidewalk slam, center ring. Practically the same damn spot. Perfect. Looking on as Lex Luger catches a drop kick. John Van whips Lex Luger to the corner. There's a forearm scrape from John Van, followed up with a second one. Hey, folks, listen, just want to ask you guys out there. Is it just me, or does Lex Luger look more like badass Billy Gunn than he does Lex Luger? Leave it in the comments. Lex Luger smashes John Van's head into the turnbuckle. Takes a walk to his corner, tags in the perfect one, Curt Hennig. John Van out of the corner, catches a forearm just the same, and a kick to the back. Curt Hennig looking to get a little payback for his beating in the early goings here. There's a knee right to the head. Sylvia Strong stepping up onto the apron, however, briefly. I'm not sure what that was about. And there's a vertical suplex from Curt Hennig. Mr. Perfect with a slap right across the face of the Chicago Hammer. That's not going to go well. Counter whipped to the apron. John Van tagged him with a right. I told you it wasn't going to go well. He's got him up, all the way up and all the way down into the lip of the apron, right at the feet of Sylvia Strong. John Van with a chop, another, and a clothesline. Takes the perfect one down to the floor. Referee counting. And here we go again. The Chicago Hammer rounds him up for another sidewalk slam, this time out there on the floor. And as you can see, folks, there are no mats out there tonight. John Van drives him almost into the 11 on the barricade. And he has fired up the crowd in Erie. Behind the originals 100% in this title defense. John Van with a stomp to the midsection of Curt Hennig. Wrist clutch kicks to the ribs, and there's a forearm. Perfect's taking quite a beating. Curt Hennig counters with elbows to the midsection of the Chicago Hammer. Locks him up. Pitches him towards the opposing side of the ring. Curt Hennig gets himself back inside. Here comes John Van too. Perfect. Charges and whoa, wrap around neck breaker. Here's another pin. 1. Only just a 1. Curt Hennig's going to have to work a whole hell of a lot harder. John Van rounds him up while he's showboating. Stupid move right there. There's a one-arm slam. That was a 12-piece bucket of stupid right there. There's a stomp to the arm of Curt Hennig. John Van taking a moment to showboat here. Probably not a good idea either. Here comes Luke. Oh, Lex Luger takes him down with a shoulder tackle. And a jumping elbow to the chest. Gotta be careful if you're gonna play to the crowd, man. Curt Hennig looking on as Lex Luger catches a right from the Chicago Hammer. John Van whips him into the original's corner. Here comes Guy Cormier for his first action in the matchup. And here comes a double team to the total package. Lex Luger. Both originals off the ropes, double headbutts right to the chest of Lex Luger. Luger counter slams Guy Cormier face down into the canvas as Cormier takes over for the O's. He retaliates, facing back with the same coin. Lex Luger with a clothesline takes down Guy Cormier. Cormier rounded up, locks it up with Luger, whips him to the ropes. There's a perfect power slam just about center right. The Staten Island Crippler. Again, some adoration from the fans as Mr. Perfect moves in. There's a shot. Guy Cormier quickly puts the brakes on the perfect one. Whips him to the original's corner. Takes down Lex Luger with a drop kick. Just go on, get out of here. Chased him out of the ring. Go on, get. Guy Cormier tags in the Chicago Hammer. Double team incoming for the perfect one. All the way up, all the way down into a back body drop as John Van resumes control for the originals. Big time headbutt right to the skull of Mr. Perfect. Curt Hennig flipped over by the Chicago Hammer. And there's a stomp right to the leg. The knee driven right into the canvas. John Van flips the perfect one to his team's corner. Turns him around in the corner. He's playing reverse tug-of-war with the arm, only on the opposite side. Wants to make sure he gets both sides done. There's an alley-oop out of the corner for Curt Hennig. John Van rounds him up again. Whips him back into the corner one more time. He charges. Oh, that was beautiful. What a splash from the Chicago Hammer. Here's a pin one. Lex Luger right there to break up the pin, save the match for his team. Guy Cormier comes in on the tag. Sylvia Strong looking supremely confident, like a lady who's going to have a great time tonight later. Johnny. The perfect one. Locked up by Guy Cormier. Perfect one whipped to the original's corner. Hit first into the turnbuckle. Goes the perfect one again. Guy Cormier seats him up on the top turnbuckle. Oh, he is setting up a little project here. This isn't going to be good. Oh! A DDT off the top turnbuckle. That was pretty nasty. Guy Cormier clearly done playing games with Curt Hennig here. Hennig whipped into the corner again. Here comes John Van. Another double team coming up for Mr. Perfect. Whipped to the ropes again and another back body drop. As once more, John Van takes over for the originals. Mr. Perfect rolls to the outside. And he don't look too good. Lex Luger catches a shot and a drop kick that puts him out on, well, both members of the Perfect Package laid out. John Van takes himself to the outside, count restarted. Clothesline takes down Curt Hennig. And, John Van is definitely, he's provoked. That is for damn sure. Curt Hennig locks up John Van, gets him back inside the ring. Lex Luger finally beginning to stir. There's a clothesline that misses. Curt Hennig tags him with the right. John Van rounded up into an abdominal stretch. You're not going to get a submission that way, but you'll definitely wear him down. John Van counters with a hip toss. Rounds up Curt Hennig. Gets a hold on him. Hard whip to the original's corner again. Curt Hennig counters with a pretty good right. Drop kick from John Van takes Curt Hennig down to the canvas. The perfect one. Right back into the original's corner he goes. John Van going to take this one on his own. Has him up over the shoulder. Snake eyes right face first into the turnbuckle. Kick to the midsection. Doesn't find the mark. Curt Hennig counters. John Van gets a hold on him. Takes him to the far right turnbuckle. Smashes his head into that one too. He's going to see all four of them by the time this match is over. Curt Hennig with a nice high hip toss to John Van as he beats it out of town and turns it over to Lex Luger. Great match so far, approaching the halfway mark. Still no sign of a winner, but what a ride it's been so far. One. Another pin attempt from the Chicago Hammer that doesn't go anywhere. He locks it up with Lex Luger. Jawjacker takes him down like a chopped down tree. John rebounds off the ropes. A leg drop right across the throat of Lex Luger. Followed up with a second one across the chest. Boom. Little double whammy from the Chicago Hammer, Okay. Whipped into the corner again goes Lex Luger. Guy Cormier brought in on the tag. Another double team coming up here. Cormier gets past Lex Luger and they're going to double powerbomb him. Boom. And when you get double powerbombed by the originals, it's like getting triple powerbombed by anybody else. Guy Cormier locks it up with Lex Luger. Whips him to the ropes. And another perfect power slam practically in the same damn spot. Man, these guys are precise. The Staten Island Crippler whips Luger back into the corner. And Lex Luger's got to be sick and tired of the original's corner by now. He finds his way out, locks it up with Guy Cormier. Has him up. There's a rib breaker from Lex Luger. The total package with a rolling elbow across the chest of Guy Cormier. Cormier rounded up by Luger before he could get stood up. And a vertical suplex from the total package. As the Perfect Package starts to turn the momentum their way. Guy Cormier tossed by the throat by Lex Luger. Here's a tag to the perfect one. Guy Cormier too late to stop it. A forearm from Curt Hennig takes him down. A stomp to the back of the head. Curt Hennig trying to keep the momentum going on his team's side. Another vertical suplex to Guy Cormier. And the World Tag Team titles hanging in the balance on this one. The perfect one. Rounds him up, flip over neck whip. Guy Cormier laid out. Mr. Perfect's pretty laid out too. He is definitely running out of steam. Using the ropes to get himself stood up. Curt Hennig. Oh, here we go. The strap came down. Might be perfect plex time. Curt Hennig rounds him up and, fisherman buster. But that took the last of Hennig's steam. Look at this. With one arm, he's trying to pin. 1, 2. Almost had us new tag team champions there. Cormier getting that right shoulder up just in the very nick of time. Lex Luger brought back in again. Cormier slowly getting to a stand position to drop kick, misses the mark. Lex Luger crashes and burns on that one. Cormier with a shoulder tackle takes Lex Luger down to the mat. In comes the Chicago Hammer, John Van again. The Originals trying to turn things around again, trying to put out the fire on the perfect package. Van ducks under, has him up. Flapjack face first into the canvas. John Van covers. 1, 2, but again, nope. What a tag team match this has been so far. Lex Luger back in the Originals corner again. Guy Cormier comes in again, and another double team coming up for poor Lex Luger. There's the fist bump. Double rebounds off the ropes. Stereo headbutts right to the pecs, and that'll wreck your pecs. A stomp to the arm from Guy Cormier, the Staten Island Crippler. Laying into Lex Luger, takes it out of town, turns it over to John Van. Sylvia Strong, hands on hips, swaying back and forth, looking supremely confident. It's not looking too bad for the Originals right now either, is it? Discus punch takes Lex Luger down. Luger writhing in pain, center ring. John Van takes himself up to the top turnbuckle. Lex Luger stands on up. Here he comes. Shoulder tackle. Takes Lex Luger down to the mat again. John Van quickly goes for the cover and hooks the leg, but here comes Curt Hennig to break it up. John Van goes right back to work just the same. Rising knee right to the shelf of the jaw of Lex Luger. Guy Cormier comes in. As we approach the 3/4 mark here, jumping elbow across the back before he could even get stood up. Damn. Guy Cormier tags the perfect one with the right, takes himself out onto the apron, slams him into the lip of it, and bulldogs Lex Luger at the same time. The Originals firmly in control of the perfect package. Lex Luger counters with a forearm. Guy opens up with a couple of rights and a discus punch that sends him flying like 5 feet. Damn. Another jumping elbow from Cormier to Lex Luger. Mr. Perfect still laid out. Lex Luger escorted back into the ring by Guy Cormier. Cormier takes himself in, stumbles into Willie Johnson for a hot second there. Guy Cormier gets a hold of Luger, whips Luger into the corner. John Van comes in on the tag. They've had enough. They've got Luger up on the top turnbuckle and just beating him, whipping him from amazing grace to a golden opportunity. Down goes Lex Luger into the corner. There's a knee from John Van. He collapses out. John Van rolls him over, covers it. 1, 2, and one more time. The Originals retain the undisputed World Tag Team Championship.
The time, 15 minutes and 2 seconds. Your winners by pinfall. And still undisputed World Tag Team Champions, the Originals.
Well, Mr. Bianco looks as if tonight's happy hour will, in fact, go untarnished. John Van and Guy Cormier retaining the undisputed World Tag Team Champions once again, this time against Lex Luger and Mr. Perfect. Another notch in the gun belt. Nicely done by the Originals.
Yep, the Originals do it again, just like I knew they would, which obviously makes Sylvia happy. And when Sylvia is happy, then I'm happy too.
All right on that mildly suggestive note, gang. We'll be back with our main event in just a minute. Myself, Pex, and Cakes here.
And to Wally.
Hey, they're seriously gonna fucking knock boots.